Day 11 began with a calm breeze and mild temperatures, a welcome change after the turbulent weather and emotional nights prior. But while the skies had cleared, tension still lingered in the air at the new Yellow Tribe camp. The fallout from the last tribal council, where Ursula had been blindsided, left clear divisions between the original Yellow and Blue members. Lois was especially bitter. Having lost her closest ally in Ursula, she felt betrayed, not just by the Yellow majority, but by Shang, who she had hoped would be more concretely with her and Ursula. But no, he was flaky and they weren't able to get the numbers. Around midday, the situation boiled over. While Karen and Velma were organizing supplies, Lois finally exploded at the four original Yellows. "You call yourselves strategic, but you're cowards hiding behind numbers," she snapped at the group sitting by the shelter. Shang glanced up to see Lois glaring directly at him. "You had a chance to play this game with backbone. Instead, you played both sides and now our friend is gone. I may as well pack my bags now if this is how easily you throw away alliances," Lois snarled. Shang, caught off guard, turned defensive. "I stuck with you," he shot back. "You never gave me a reason to trust you over them, but I still voted with you anyway. Be mad at them instead of me." Velma chimed in, seeing this as an opportunity to defend Shang and gain him as a number. Her eyes sharpened. "Maybe if you and Ursula hadn't isolated yourselves the second we hit camp, things would be different. But all we can do now is try to move forward as a team. We like you, Lois, but not if you're going to act like a brat stomping around camp." That's when Shego stepped in. "Okay, enough," she sounded agitated, her voice cutting through the tension. "We're all stuck here. If you want to have a tantrum, take it somewhere else." Lois turned away, visibly fuming, while he watched silently from a hammock, eyes gleaming with amusement. Karen just shook her head and muttered, "This tribe's about to crack." Later that afternoon, as the heat peaked and tempers cooled, a quieter moment unfolded between Shang and Velma. Sitting by the water, they spoke in hushed tones. "I get why she's angry," Shang admitted. "But this isn't about feelings. It's about survival. She's mad at me even though I voted with her. I don't know what else I can do at this point." Velma nodded, brushing sand off her legs. "You did what was best for your game by playing both sides. Don't second guess it. If anything, this solidifies you as with us." Shang sighed. "Still feels like I made a target out of myself." "You didn't," Velma said. "You proved your loyalty. That matters. Just keep your eyes open, especially for Lois." Meanwhile, Lois sat in the shelter, alone, replaying the votes in her head. In a confessional, she admitted, "Ursula was the only one I trusted. Now it's just me, surrounded by people waiting to pick me off. But I'm not going down easy. Not a chance. I may have overreacted a bit with Shang, but now it's clear he's with them. All right, Lois, get it together. Let's go make this thing happen." Velma said she likes me. I can start there. By the time the sun began to set, the camp was quieter, but the divisions were sharper than ever. The original Yellow members, Velma, Shego, Karen, and him, felt stable in their majority, while Lois was stewing, already plotting. Shang, playing both sides, was trying to solidify his position without becoming expendable, and everyone knew the next loss could mean another fracture, and another blindside. Day 11 dawned with clear skies and a soft breeze at the new Blue Tribe camp. After their victory in the previous day's volleyball immunity challenge, spirits were high, at least on the surface. Beneath the cheer, fractures had begun to form, and the effects of hunger, paranoia, and shifting allegiances were quietly beginning to show. Early in the morning, Jerry and Tigger were the first awake, working together to gather firewood and stoke the dwindling fire. The two shared an easy camaraderie, remnants of their time on original Yellow and Blue, respectively. Chica soon joined them, robotically efficient as always, reinforcing the shelter with palm fronds and branches. Despite being the only robot on the tribe, she had been surprisingly adaptable, and quietly observant. By mid-morning, tensions finally broke through the surface. King Boo and Muriel got into a heated argument over food rationing. King Boo had been hoarding small portions of rice in a separate area, claiming he was trying to ensure there'd be enough left for emergencies. Muriel, ever maternal, was not having it. "People are weak, Boo," she snapped, voice raised. "You can't make decisions for the whole tribe without asking." King Boo floated higher, agitated. "I'm trying to help. Unlike you, I don't spend all day sitting around worrying about Cosmo's feelings. Since you clearly aren't looking out for me, I'm just looking out for myself." Muriel's face turned red. "You have no idea what I do for this camp, you pompous specter." Chica raised a mechanical eyebrow. Cosmo, trying to diffuse things, jumped in with, "Maybe we could just have a meeting about rice and friendship." But it only highlighted the absurdity, and King Boo drifted off, grumbling. Later in the day, a different kind of alliance was forming. Tommy, who'd quietly observed the camp dynamics for days, approached Chica while she was near the water, cleaning cookware. "You're smart," he said plainly. "You don't say much, but you're always watching. I like that. But you do kinda scare me." Chica's eyes blinked in response. Observation increases survival. Emotional displays decrease performance. Tommy grinned. "Exactly. I think we could work together." Later, Tommy pulled in Jerry, who was more than happy to loop in with old yellow allies. "Chica likes me," Jerry agreed. "She's quiet, loyal, and strong. We lock her in, we've got 3. The trio met again by the fire just before sundown. "We keep each other safe," Tommy said, "and if we lose, we vote as a block." No hesitation. Chica gave a firm nod. "Agreed. As long as Muriel is with us." Jerry extended a hand, and the 3 sealed their alliance with a quick pact, subtle, but meaningful. Elsewhere, Cosmo floated between conversations, occasionally trying to be helpful, though often confused. Muriel spent time calming herself, aware her blow-up with King Boo had painted her in a volatile light. King Boo, meanwhile, retreated into the jungle for much of the afternoon, supposedly to think, though more likely to check on the hidden immunity idol he still kept secret. By sunset, while dinner cooked over the fire, the tribe shared a few laughs, but the cracks were visible. Muriel and King Boo avoided eye contact. Jerry, Tommy, and Chica subtly formed a tight trio, and Cosmo, unaware of much but happy to be included, danced barefoot around the fire, mumbling about butterflies. Day 11 had proven one thing: even in victory, not all is well in paradise. The sun blazed overhead as both tribes arrived at the challenge arena for Day 12's high-stakes Tribal Immunity Challenge. Jeff Probst stood before the 2 tribes, explaining the rules once again. 2 members from each tribe would hold a heavy net, while 4 members of the other tribe would attempt to fill it with coconuts. When the net holders could no longer take the weight and dropped it, the challenge would end, and their tribe would be heading to tribal council. The Blue Tribe, with 7 members, chose to sit out Muriel, who was still recovering emotionally from her Day 11 blow-up with King Boo. They selected Tommy and King Boo to hold the net, trusting their strength and resilience. Meanwhile, Chica, Tigger, Cosmo, and Jerry would be doing the coconut throwing. Muriel took her seat on the bench and quietly smiled as if she was at a movie premiere at her hometown theater. On the Yellow Tribe, they selected Shang and him as the net holders, banking on Shang's physicality and him's surprising endurance. That left Karen, Lois, Shego, and Velma to toss coconuts at Blue's net. The challenge began with a flurry of throws. Shego and Lois quickly found their rhythm, aiming directly for the center of the blue net, where weight would build fastest. Velma's tosses were more precise than powerful, while Karen used an underhand technique that landed a few well-placed hits. Blue's throwers retaliated with energy. Chica's robot-calibrated throws landed coconuts with uncanny consistency, while Tigger brought his usual bouncy chaos, hurling coconuts with erratic strength. Cosmo contributed, enthusiastically, though many of his coconuts missed entirely. Jerry, focused and precise, balanced out the chaos. 10 minutes in, the nets began to sag slightly. Shang was holding strong, breathing steadily through clenched teeth. Him, however, was beginning to strain. "Don't you dare drop it," Shego barked from the sidelines, eyes blazing. "We're not losing because of you." Him winked at Shego playfully. Across from them, Tommy stood like a stone, focused and unmoving. King Boo, while technically floating, manipulated the net handles with his ghostly energy. It wasn't traditional strength, but it was working. He was holding most of the weight to keep Tommy from being launched into the air by the weight of the coconuts. 15 minutes and him was shaking visibly, clearly weaker than he expected from lack of food. "Come on," Karen shouted, launching another coconut into Blue's net. On the other side, Chica was relentless, her mechanical efficiency pressing Shang and him to their limit. At 22 minutes, him's grip finally gave out. Shego screamed in pain when all of the weight swung her way. She dropped the net and the yellow net slammed into the sand. Jeff Probst raised his arms. "Blue Tribe wins immunity." Cheers erupted from Blue. Tommy dropped the net with a grin, sweat dripping from his face. King Boo floated over smugly, arms crossed. Tommy squealed in delight. Yellow was deflated. Ursula sank to her knees, exhausted and frustrated. Shang offered a hand, helping her up silently. The rest of Yellow looked on solemnly, already anticipating the political scramble to come. As the Blue Tribe collected their reward, fruit and fishing gear, Jeff turned to Yellow. "I'll see you at Tribal Council tonight." The stakes were rising, and the game was about to shift once again. Back at the Blue Tribe camp, spirits were high following their second straight immunity challenge win. Tommy and King Boo were hailed as heroes for their endurance, with even Chica offering a rare high five to Tommy, though her metal hand nearly crushed his. The tribe shared fresh fruit from their reward, grateful for a break from plain coconut and rice. Tigger bounced around energetically, while Cosmo tried, and failed, to spear a fish with a stick, drawing laughter from the group. Despite the relaxed mood, strategy was still brewing. King Boo, still quietly clutching his secret hidden immunity idol, kept a close eye on alliances forming. He noticed Jerry, Chica, and Tommy spending more time together, potentially solidifying their alliance after their challenge coordination. Meanwhile, Muriel, after sitting out the challenge, tried to reintegrate with Tigger and Cosmo, subtly working to rebuild fractured trust after her argument with King Boo the day prior. Chica, ever calculating, remained wary of King Boo's growing social influence. In private, she whispered to Tommy about possibly targeting him down the line, planting seeds early. While Blue enjoyed a night of peace, the game's gears were still turning, everyone aware that the next challenge could shift the power once more. Yellow Tribe returned to camp with a quiet unease. After losing the immunity challenge and heading into yet another tribal council, the pressure was mounting. The camp, though more intact than others thanks to Him's architectural oversight, felt colder somehow, less like a team and more like a fractured alliance struggling to hold itself together. Ursula's torch had been snuffed 2 nights ago, a decisive move by the original Yellow Alliance, Karen, Shego, Velma, and Him. The plan had worked, but it came at a cost. Shang, who had voted with his original Blue tribe mate Ursula, was still licking his wounds and clearly on the outs. Lois, also from original Blue, had sensed the tide was turning, and was angry at the original Yellows for voting together based on tribe lines. Now, both she and Shang were scrambling for any leverage they could find. Shego was feeling emboldened, patrolling the beach and barkily assigning chores. "If we're going to tribal, we're not going looking like we live in a junkyard," she said, forcing everyone into a cleaning frenzy. Him, amused by Shego's commanding tone, played along with his usual cryptic flair. "Chaos makes the soul grow stronger," he hummed as he rearranged palm fronds around the fire pit. "Are we going with the easy vote tonight, sister, or should we spice things up a bit? Best to take out known enemies right now. We can turn on allies later," Shego replied decisively. Velma, however, was keeping a much lower profile. Quiet and observant, she was a possible swing vote now. Though still technically aligned with her original tribe mates, she was increasingly unsure of Shego's volatility and Him's arrogance. She still had her hidden immunity idol tucked securely in her belongings, only Tommy on the other tribe knew about it, but hadn't told anyone here. And now, she wasn't sure if she'd use it to save herself, or someone else. As the tribe gathered for a small meal before scrambling, tensions rose. A firewood run gone wrong led to another spat between Shego and Shang. "You're lucky we let you stay another day," Shego snapped when Shang refused to carry extra logs. "Yeah, and you're lucky I haven't dragged your smug face into the ocean yet," he bit back. Karen intervened calmly, pulling Shego aside to cool her down. "We've got bigger fish to fry," Karen reminded her. Focus on the task at hand. Karen's role in the tribe was shifting subtly. She was still loyal to her original alliance, but she had begun to notice Velma's growing distance. That afternoon, she approached her under the guise of cracking coconuts. "You and we've been solid since day one," she said. "Whatever happens tonight, I hope that still means something." Velma nodded politely, but said little. Karen walked away less reassured than she'd hoped. Velma was trying to keep a friendly face, but was beginning to grow tired of Karen's constant sarcasm and cynicism. Meanwhile, Lois was on damage control. She pulled Shang aside by the well. "We need to work together. I know you're pissed, but they'll pick us off one by one if we don't start thinking ahead. I know I haven't been a good ally the past few days, but neither of us can win if we don't figure this out." Shang hesitated but agreed. "It's probably Velma we need. She's not as close with him as she pretends." The two of them devised a quiet pitch to flip Velma and take a shot at Shego, hoping Velma's increasing frustration with her ally would be enough to tip the scales. Later in the afternoon, Lois and Velma shared a more personal moment as they took a walk down the shoreline. "I miss my kids," Lois admitted, her voice breaking slightly. "I know it sounds weak, but it's hard waking up every day not hearing them laugh. I'm falling apart out here," she sighed as a tear fell down her cheek. Velma paused, clearly moved. "It's not weak. It's why we fight so hard out here. For them." The moment humanized Lois to Velma in a way the rest of the tribe hadn't managed to do. It was no longer about blue versus yellow. It was about trust, and maybe survival. As the sun began to set, the strategy swirled in every direction. Shego was confident the plan was solid. "Vote Lois, easy," she told him. Karen, meanwhile, was starting to worry Shego was becoming a liability. Shang and Lois believed they had a real shot to flip Velma. And Velma, she knew she was holding all the power. As players whispered secrets in small groups, tension built. Karen pitched to Shang and Lois to vote for Shego. Lois threw glances to Velma hoping for a miracle. Shego and him giggled together in the corner. Shang pleaded to Velma. Plans were set and changed, but one thing was certain, the fate of the Yellow Tribe would once again rest in Velma's hands. The torches flickered in the evening breeze as the new Yellow Tribe filed into Tribal Council for the second time in 3 days. The mood was tense but composed. Each castaway carried an air of calculation, especially Velma, whose quiet demeanor betrayed the strategic chaos brewing behind her glasses. Jeff Probst welcomed them in with his usual intensity. So, second time here in 3 nights. What's changed since the last time you sat here? Shego spoke first, bold as ever. It's about drawing lines. At some point, loyalty has to matter more than tribe colors. That's what I'm betting on. Her words were pointed, lightly aimed at Lois and Shang, both remnants of the original Blue Tribe. Shang gave her a sideways glance. You say loyalty matters, but sometimes it's a one-way street. You can be loyal, but still disposable. His tone was sharp, and Jeff pounced. Feel disposable, Shang? He nodded. Let's just say, I don't think I'm part of the long-term plan here. Him giggled to himself and glanced at Shego. Jeff asked if something was funny. Well, I just think it's funny how people wish and wash and flip and flop. This is a straightforward vote, and everyone's been running around all day scheming and plotting, him explained calmly. Jeff retorted, so what's this straightforward vote? Him sat up straighter. Well, my little sister squad from Original Yellow intend to stay together. It only makes sense. Velma raised an eyebrow. Karen blinked. Lois and Shang frowned hard. Jeff pivoted to Shego. Shego, thoughts on this so-called sister squad? Well, here's what I'll say. Not loving the name, but he's right that sometimes the easy vote is the one to go with for long-term gain. Will that happen tonight? We'll see. But I agree that there is a group I'm comfortable with, sisters or not. Velma nodded in agreement as Shego spoke, but turned to Lois to wink. Lois was confused, but decided it best not to speak up and enlarge her target. Karen stayed diplomatic, chiming in with a call for unity. We're all hungry, tired, and constantly guessing who we can trust. But the goal is to move forward with the people who want to win this thing the right way. Lois, still composed but emotional, added, everyone out here has people back home they miss. But tonight, you vote with your gut. And maybe your heart, if you're brave enough. Alliances are great, but let's all just remember we're all real people. Then Jeff turned to Velma, the night's most anticipated voice. Velma, are you still figuring out where you stand in this group, and how do you decide who to vote for tonight? Is it based on alliances, relationships, or pure strategy? She adjusted her glasses slowly. I think everyone should be figuring that out all the time. The moment you're sure you're safe, you're not paying close enough attention. And while alliances run the game, those alliances don't matter if they aren't for the long run. In the long game, it's those one-on-one relationships that truly last, and that's how I have to base my vote tonight. The tribe grew quiet, and Jeff nodded, recognizing a loaded answer when he heard one. With the sun fully gone and only firelight illuminating their faces, Jeff called for the vote. One by one, castaways stepped up to the parchment, whispered intentions, and cast their vote, some with conviction, others with hesitation. When the last vote was cast, Jeff asked if anyone wanted to play a hidden immunity idol. All eyes flicked briefly, but no one budged. Velma kept her idol safely tucked into her bag. Jeff began to read the votes. First vote, Shang. Second vote, Shego. Shego scoffed and glanced over at him, who simply raised an eyebrow. Third vote, Lois. That's 1 vote Shang, 1 vote Shego, 1 vote Lois. Next vote, Shang. That's 2 votes Shang. Lois leaned forward in her seat. Shang didn't move, and stared intently at Jeff as he pulled the next parchment. Fifth vote, Shego. That's 2 for Shang, 2 for Shego, 1 for Lois. 1 vote left. Jeff reached into the urn, and pulled out the final parchment. The 6th person voted out of Cartoon Survivor Season 1. Shang. That's 3. Tonight that's enough. You need to bring me your torch. Shang got up quickly and said nothing. His face was like stone, an unmoving and unreadable expression. He approached Jeff without a hint of emotion. Shang, the tribe has spoken. His torch was snuffed, and he marched out without even a glance back. As the players gathered their belongings to head back to camp, Lois cried softly. Velma softly comforted her while Shego and him expressed relief over Shego's safety. The group headed out led by Karen, and returned to camp for the evening after another dramatic evening at Tribal. The Yellow Tribe returned to camp under a tense silence, the torchlight flickering off their weary faces. Shang's torch had just been snuffed, and the weight of the vote still lingered. Karen, Shego, and him quietly exchanged subtle nods, their alliance having successfully held strong for another round. Though relieved, none of them celebrated. Everyone knew how quickly things could turn. Him apologized for the sister squad name drop out of nowhere. Karen accepted the apology, but quietly warned him about being in a public alliance. It's dangerous, she said firmly, Shego nodding behind her. Him thought for a moment, and retorted that may be so, but having all this power is so much fun. Why not rub it in? More fun for everyone. A subdued sister squad is nowhere near as entertaining as a spectacular sparkly sister squad. Karen and Shego laughed nervously as the three walked ashore to rinse off before bed. Him ultimately agreed to keep the alliance more subdued and not flaunt it as much. A strike against his inner diva. Velma hung back slightly from the group, her stray vote for Lois raising subtle eyebrows. She claimed it was a misread of the dynamics, but Karen couldn't help but wonder if Velma was playing her own long game. Meanwhile, Lois was visibly rattled. With her closest ally now gone, she curled up near the fire, distancing herself from the others and nursing the sting of betrayal. Tension simmered beneath the surface, but no one wanted to stir conflict in the dark. The tribe was smaller now, and everyone felt the squeeze of the game. Trust was thinner than ever. As the embers of the fire crackled and the tribe lay down under the stars, whispers of uncertainty settled over the beach. With Shang gone, the power balance had shifted once again, and everyone knew the next move could make or break their game.